Good morning. It's Sunday. I did mean to film something yesterday and upload it yesterday, but I had a work commitment and the timing just did not pan out. And I was hoping maybe if I waited a little bit longer, maybe I'd have an update that is not about Neopets, but I don't. I mean, I have some like updates, but not like the update. So like, let me just get the lost and found updates out of the way, and then we will talk about Neopets for hopefully the last time for a long time on this channel. Probably like until the end of Things Change, which will be in like what, 12 weeks, 10 weeks? I don't know, we're two parts in. Anyway, lost and found updates. Okay. So the hardcover proof is in Pennsylvania, or actually no, it left Pennsylvania last night. That's the last shipping update I have. Is that at like 9 p.m. last night it left Pennsylvania, and I live in Delaware, so I'm kind of hoping that maybe tomorrow, since today's Sunday, I'm like not banking on it getting here today, but maybe tomorrow. And then so that would mean that next week's video, as long as the cover looks good, would be the cover reveal, because let me tell you, I have everything locked and loaded right now except for the hardcover proof. Like my final files are set. I got my Library of Congress control number, like, with Saving Summer, that took months, and I like already got it. So I have my final files with like all the necessary information inside. I have my ARC copy saved and ready to send out. I have my ARC application made. I have all of the final files for the interiors and the covers, assuming the hardcover looks good. And I have the I'm putting a 3-chapter preview on my website this time, just because like, I think like in comparison to like the whole length of the book, with Saving Summer versus Lost and Found, I think 3 chapters is probably going to be roughly the same number of pages. But I think like 3 chapters pretty much puts you like right in like where I would want you to be, where you're like, oh crap, I need to know what happens next. And so that's what's going to be on my website along with the cover. On my website currently, I put like a blurred out cover from when I did a cover reveal on my Instagram close friends story at the beginning of the year. So I put like a blurred out image of the cover just as a placeholder. And then the only thing I still need to make is the playlist, like the public playlist. I'm gonna try both Apple Music and Spotify, and then that page will be all set. And I can like launch the pre-order links, get all that set up. I really just need the hardcover proof to get here. So I'm hoping that tomorrow we can do that and it looks good, and I will be able to confidently click approve for pre-orders or whatever the button is, and film my cover reveal and talk about the cover and all of those things. Okay, so now let's talk about, so now that's that update. Now let's talk about Neopets. So, part 2 of Things Change came out on Friday night. I'm not loving the whole waiting 2 weeks between parts of things, because let me tell you, like, if in 6th grade I had to wait 2 weeks for the next installment of They'll Never Hear a Word We Say, I would have gone crazy. So if there's any Things Change like fans out there just patiently waiting for the next part, I feel you. I don't think it's nearly as good as They'll Never Hear a Word We Say, by I don't know how she wants her name pronounced, but like that author was like far and away best Neopets author of all time, goated. I really hope she became an author in real life, and if anybody knows anything about her, please let me know, because I would love to buy all of her in real life books and read them, because I ate up things that were even outside of my comfort genre on Neopets for her. But anyway, we're not talking about her, we're talking about me, okay? We're talking about my story. So like I said, hadn't published anything on the Neopian Times in like over 10 years. And the landscape is very different. I was able to find somebody's pet page that had like explained a lot of things about how you submit things, how things work now. And it definitely feels different. Like it tells you like how to make things in italic, like what coding to put into your submissions. Whereas like when I was submitting 10 years ago, it was just like, they would assume that a flashback was gonna be in italic or something like that. So yeah, and it was just interesting to see like how much things have changed since I last was actively submitting to the Neopian Times. Like I said, I'm probably not going to submit more things. I submitted Things Change for fun. And I've been reading it as the parts come out, because like I said, I don't really remember what's in it since like last time I even looked at it was 2023, and like that was like making minor changes to the document I wrote 15 years ago. But yeah, there are things in it that like looking at it now, I'm like, yeah, I was so 15 when I wrote this. And I remember I would like try to like use like British terminology for stuff because it was Neopets and they were a British company or something like that. And it was just like me like trying to be fake British is so cringe. But yeah, I'm just like, there's a lot of it that's just very much, I wrote this at 15. Which is fine because I wanted it to be like a time capsule of what I wrote when I was 15. I didn't want to like go in there and redo it. I don't even think I can like really go in there and redo a Neopets story at my big age. Like with everything that's changed on the website, I don't really play the website the same way I did when I was in middle school. Like it's mostly just about just dailies and collecting and stuff now. But yeah, if I were to submit more stuff someday, there are only 2 things I could possibly think of that would be worth reopening and altering to make them worthy of being submitted. The first is when I was quite literally in the 7th grade, I wrote a 12-part series that was supposed to be like what happened to me in 6th grade, literally, but with Neopets. So not quite as like removed from my storyline as Things Change is. It was more like directly my storyline, but everybody's Neopets, and a lot of it had to do with crushes, so I had to like fight for my life changing, like, oh, like she just really wanted to be friends with him. Flashback, me in the 5th grade, really wanted to be friends with this girl named Cassie. Just really wanted to be friends with her. Felt really nervous like holding the phone when I was gonna call her to ask to have a play date, which she said no to. Hi Cassie, if you're out there. We're friends on Facebook now, she's cool. But I'm just like, you know, like, it's giving closeted live, basically, but it was like, yeah, she really wants to be friends with this guy. She just really wants to be his friend. And like, I did over the years, like between 7th grade and probably the last time I touched it was like my sophomore year of high school, like go through and make like extreme like changes to it. Like I like thoroughly rewrote it since 7th grade, like changed a lot. Like changed a lot of the details, so it's removed from my life, just less so than Things Changed, I think. I haven't read that document in so long. Like I think I read it out of boredom when I was like 18 and was like, maybe someday I'll do something with this, and then didn't. But it was called Outcast, so I might do something with that someday. There was a sequel to it that I wrote part of and then rewrote, and then the last draft I have of the sequel has different character names than the last draft I have of the first part. So I'm just like, okay, well, clearly I haven't touched this in a long time. I don't remember where I was going with it. So there will not be the sequel to that ever, even if I do put out the original or the highly modified original. And then the only other story that I think could be salvageable is kind of a tricky area. It is again something I wrote in the 7th grade, but it was basically, I couldn't do anything with it because it was about a character having an eating disorder, which like you can't do on Neopets. And I submitted it and they were like, hey, yeah, like this is about a topic that we can't do. So like, sorry, no. And so I like tried my best to like modify it and just like make it less obvious that that's what it was about. But I don't think there was a way to do that and still tell the story. But I was inspired to write it because everybody thought I had an eating disorder in 7th grade and I didn't. But I was like, what if I wrote a story about somebody who did? And the only other thing with that is it features characters like who were the pets on one of my pseudonym accounts. So I would have to address the fact that that's me and then reveal everything I've ever written for the Neopian Times before. But if you ever do figure out who I am, like who I was 10 years ago, there is a story I published, like the last one actually, I'm pretty sure it was the last one I put out in like the summer of 2012. And it featured the character who had an eating disorder in this story. Like she was like a side character in it. And like it mentioned that like she was very overweight now and that like she ate a lot of candy now. And it was like, probably problematic looking back on it. But it was like supposed to like, obviously the first story was supposed to be published way before that. And like, yeah, I published that in 2012, but I have vivid memories of writing it in my grandmother's house and she passed away in 2009. So like, I have no idea when I wrote it originally. I know I probably made changes to it in 2012 before I put it out. But yeah, so if I ever do put that one out, if I ever figure out how to do it, then I will have to reveal who I am and what the other stories were. So probably not, but I am really proud of, like, it's definitely probably problematic, but like for a 7th grader who had no experience with eating disorders, despite what my whole class believed, I'm really proud of how that one turned out. And yeah, I also, like, I definitely wrote it at the beginning of 7th grade because that was after my first year of theater camp, and there are so many Easter egg references to theater camp in it. Like, they're in a play, and like the whole backstage room and all these things are definitely like based on my theater camp, and there's so many like callbacks to it. Because despite having a terrible summer that first summer, I was obsessed with the lore of, like, I loved like going in the old, like, I loved like going in the rooms and seeing like the pictures of the old shows and like leftover programs and posters and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, like, I'm very autistic, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry, but yeah, that was like early signs of there's something being different about me. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But yeah, I would like to revisit that someday. If more than likely, I will not be able to revisit that on Neopets because I know the rules have changed significantly since 10 years ago, but like, I still think that's pushing it. But I might revisit it as like an actual like non-Neopets story someday, like a middle grade kind of, just like Babysitter's Club-esque. I don't know. I don't know, but those are the only two that I could possibly see myself revisiting someday. I ain't touching anything in that notebook again. None of that is seeing the light of day. I mean, like, if y'all want me to read more out of it, you can request, like, go on my video where I read out of it and request other stories you want to hear from it. And sure, not for a while though, because I'm tired of doing Neopets updates on here. But like, nothing I wrote in the 5th grade is ever getting revisited enough to become published in the 2020s or beyond. Like, I just, no. No. So yeah, that's that on that. But yeah, I'm probably not going, because things change to 7 parts, and to get the avatar, like, there's 2 avatars you can get from the Neopian Times, and I'm a bit of an avatar collector these days. So there's one that you can get for having 10 entries published or more, and there's one that you can get from getting published in like a 25th, 50th, or 75th, or 100th issue. And so those are the only things that I would still be trying to get out of the Times at my big age. So like, that's the only reason I would have to submit anything. I just can't see myself writing anything new for the Neopian Times, so it would have to be like me going back and revisiting Outcast or the other story. And the thing is, like, Outcast, with that one, I submitted it so many times, like earlier versions of it, sure, but I submitted it so many times on my old accounts that I'm just like worried if I were to submit it, even like heavily rewritten on this account, they'd be like, you are plagiarizing this username. And I'd be like, that's literally me. And so is this username, and I'm sorry. Like, I had problems as a child, okay? But yeah, so like, I'm sure it wouldn't be that big a deal. They probably, like, they have new editors these days, probably don't even remember it. But I remember, like, back when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, I was obsessed with this one user, and again, I don't know how she wants her name pronounced, but she went by Kat, but this was her username. Hopefully I remember to edit that in there. She went by Kat, and when I tell you, I was obsessed with that woman. Like, in the 5th grade, I genuinely, like, I got into my old, like, cause that account that I had in 5th grade got frozen when I was in 6th grade, long story. And I finally was able to get back into it, in 2023, ironically, same year that I started resubmitting Things Change. But, yeah, in summer 2023, I was able to get back into that account, and I saw like my pets' descriptions, their home pages, my user lookup, and it was like all my pets were like, this is who I would be if, or this is who I would be friends with on this person's account. The pet page is like, my favorite stories by this person. Here's links to them. And I'm just like, why was I like giving Yolanda Saldivar? Like, what, like, I would have been afraid of me if I was that woman. And like, I literally, I made a DeviantArt account to talk to her outside of Neopets, and I don't think we really ever did. Because I was pretending to be a teenager, but I was very obviously 10 years old. Just in my writing and the way I talked to people, like, that was not giving teenager. I was not fooling anybody. But I was obsessed with her stuff. And like, I remember I had a couple side accounts I made where I was like trying to, like, I would copy like the format of her username, and I would copy, like, I went and found out like how far apart in age all of her pets were, and would like try to like space mine out and give them similar names and like similar like male, female birth order or whatever. And it was just so insane. Like, because I remember I had very canon characters for this account, like Angel and Princess were on it, but they had like, I eventually gave them like canon siblings, and then I deleted one of the siblings because I was like, well, this doesn't line up with Kat, and like this doesn't line up with the way Kat has her pets, so I can't have this sibling. And I like drafted in like a whole storyline for me, like adopting one of Princess's friends who had like one of those names that sounds like a medication. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, just watch my last video. But it was like this whole thing that I was just like trying to be her basically, and it was insane. And I needed mental attention, and thankfully I got it eventually when I was in college. But you know, I mean, I did have a psychiatrist in high school, but later found out I was being gaslit the entire time, so that was fun. But yeah, just so much insane about that. And all of this to say that I would take her stories, put them in a Word document, like control replace her pets' names with my pets' names, and they're like, make them my pets. Like I would change like, oh, like Striped Kachik to, I think it was like Fairy Kachik that I had. And I would make minor changes to the story. I'd be like, this is something I think I could do better. The one that I rewrote the hardest was called Playing the Part. I was so obsessed with that story. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was so obsessed with it. It was so insane. But I rewrote it so heavily. It was not indistinguishable from Playing the Part. Like, if I were to have submitted it, I definitely would have gotten my account frozen, because I tried, like, her very first story that she published about her pets, I tried to like rewrite it with my pets, and I submitted it, and I immediately got a warning from the Neopets team, and they're like, yeah, no, you're not fooling anybody, Liv. Like, go write your own thing. So like, if I did that with what I tried to rewrite Playing the Part into, I definitely would have gotten frozen. But I did act it out with my Barbie dolls a lot. Like, I printed it off and made my Barbie dolls act it out in the summer before 6th grade. And I remember I was at like a day camp, and I would make props for it during arts and crafts time, because I was just, there was a lot wrong with me, okay? But yeah, that's my Neopets update. This is hopefully the last Neopets video I'm gonna post for a while. I'm sorry if you're here because you like the Neopets videos. I really am. It's just, this is supposed to be my like official author channel / vlogs and talking about autism occasionally. But yeah, I thought I'd give that update. But yeah, I'm gonna edit this and upload it today, hopefully. And I will see y'all next week, hopefully, with the Lost and Found update. Let me grab my phone and check the shipping status right now. It is probably still gonna say that it left Pennsylvania at 9 p.m. last night. Yeah, it's still saying left Pennsylvania at 9 p.m. last night, so no updates there. But yeah, that's that on that. I will see y'all next week, hopefully with the update we all want. And yeah, just have a great week. I don't know. Bye.